Hi, I'm Jenny Wren with More Mommy Moments, and in this video I'm going to show you specifically how to add recipes to Plan to Eat. The fastest and my favorite way to do it is to use the recipe extension that is available on your browser. I have it downloaded here already, but if you go to your browser's web store, you should be able to find the extension, and it's very, very easy to add. And once you have it added, it's right there as a recipe clipper. And so then let's say that we want to search. We're going to do a search for, let's do Instant Pot mashed potatoes. And it's going to pull up all these recipes, and this one's got really good ratings, so let's just pull that one up. And we look at it, and we go, wow, that looks really, really good. I would like to go ahead and add that recipe to my collection. So we're going to just click on that button, and it is going to pull up the recipe importer. And right here, it imports everything. It imports the website it comes from. It imports the picture, the directions, the ingredients. It's all right there. And you have an opportunity here to make any changes that you want to make, or just go ahead and save the recipe. So we're going to go ahead and save it, and we can close this, and we're going to go back over to our recipe book, and I'm going to refresh, and it's going to show us that we added Instant Pot mashed potatoes. It's that simple. It's amazing. Now I want to show you a few things within the recipe itself. First of all, it's going to always show you the source, and this is important. You'll see later, but we want to make sure that we're always attributing where the recipe came from. You also have the option to pull it up as a cooking view, which just sort of makes it look more like a recipe card, makes it a little bit faster if you're just standing there wanting to look at that and not dig through and scroll down to the instructions. And I don't know if you noticed here, within this cooking view, you can have the overview, you can lay it out step by step, where you could literally click through on each step and it highlights where you're at with ingredients. I don't know if you noticed that here. We get over here to where we're going to add in the, we're going to drain the potatoes, and then we're going to add the butter and the sour cream. So it shows you what you need in each step of the way. You can also print these out, and you can go ahead and you can plan from here. But these are a couple things I think are really important. One is that you can add this recipe to your queue. Now think of your queue as almost like your favorites, the recipes that you want to have quicker access to and you don't want to look around and find. So we're going to go ahead and add that to the queue. And then you also have the ability to make it private. Let's say that you have a recipe that you don't want your friends to share. That's when you would make it private. And you can still do that even though you downloaded it here. But let's just say that you have a guilty pleasure, you're on a diet, and you don't want your diet friends to necessarily see that you make this dessert for your family. You can make it private there. And then you have the ability to go back in here and edit, and you can make whatever changes you want. One of the things that I like in here is that you can rearrange the ingredients. So if you are somebody who says, no, I need them listed in order of how they're used, then you can list them that way. If you list them in order of the quantity from greatest quantity to smallest, you can rearrange them that way. But it gives you a lot of freedom to do those things. And so I'm just going to cancel because we're not going to make any changes. And then the other thing you can do here, you can duplicate it. So if you wanted to have, let's say you had a basic recipe that you had 4 or 5 different versions to. I've seen this a lot with cookies, where you might have a basic cookie recipe, but then you have different ingredients you add to make it chocolate chip, or make it peanut butter, or things like that. You could make the basic recipe, duplicate it, and then add your other ingredients to make that a little more easy. And after you've had the recipe and enjoyed it, you and your family can rate it, so that you can also search by things and say, I only want to find the foods that we rated as 4 or 5 stars. So that is the fastest way to add a recipe, is with the recipe extension. Now, there's a couple other ways that you can do it too. You can also add a recipe by hand. And by hand, you could go ahead and you could type it all in manually yourself here, or you can use this thing called bulk import. Now, bulk import is a little bit deceptive in that you can't just copy a whole recipe, dump it in, and it figures out what you need. But it is great in that you can put all the components in here and not have to worry about breaking it out. So I'm going to go to a recipe that my friend gave me. I cannot speak French, so I do not know how to pronounce what these are, but this is a Puerto Rican dish that she makes. And so we're going to just, oops, wrong screen. I apologize. We're going to just copy and paste these pieces into it. It's not a lot. It's basically the name, it's the ingredients, and it is the directions. Now your ingredients, you want to always make sure that they are on separate lines so that they are imported into separate lines. And so where that gets to be very important is sometimes you'll see a recipe with an instruction like this: 1 teaspoon of cinnamon plus 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Well, in this case, I'm going to list these as separate ingredients because they're both quantities that we need to have listed, but they're broken out because they are used in different places of the recipe. So we will finish breaking these out line by line. And then the other thing we need to add are the directions. So let's go ahead and copy those. And we'll come back over here and we'll scroll down to, oop, my battery is running low. We'll scroll down to directions and we will save changes. And now you see we have here the directions, all the ingredients, and that recipe, it's in here. We have the option to add a picture. So if you take a photo of food, you can add the picture here, which that's a great thing to do. And again, you can make it private if you want to. So let's go ahead and save this. Now the other option that we have is if we had a recipe that we had a website for, we could add the recipe and we could import it from the web. And we could just put in the recipe link here and then it would import it. So that's the converse side of the web extension. And then the other way that you can add recipes is by going to your friends' recipe books. I love that you can make friends on here. You can have different people that you look at. Several years ago, my husband and I decided that we were going to try being vegan. And so we became friends with all of our friends who were vegans so that we could look at what they have. And so you can go through your friends' recipes, and let's say that I'm going through this friend, Trying is her handle, and let's just say that I think that this skillet bread looks delicious. So I can click on this, and I can edit a copy of this recipe. So this will duplicate it and put it into my recipe book. So I hit confirm and there it is. And it gives me the directions and it gives me everything there. And now I can save it. So let's go ahead and close this and let's go back over here to my recipes. And there is the newest added recipe right there. Now, sometimes it will tell you that you need to visit the site in order to download the instructions, and that's one of the ways that they make sure that you're going back to the original source. But it's very, very simple. And then as you add your recipes, you can do all sorts of things here with categorizing. You can these are some of the options that we had from in before, but you can sort them by list. You can sort them just in different ways. You can, so here we go. Here's the list. We had it before. So you can look and find, you could start to look through here and say, oh, I want to sort these by cooking time. I want to sort by course. I want to sort by how often we make it. You have a lot of options here when it comes to your recipes. And I'm going to go back to my recipes and let's see here. Oh. And yeah, so that is an overview of how you can add recipes. As you can see, I need to add pictures to some of mine, but this has been a great way to pull things in. Pinterest is great for saving them to look at them later, but this is a great way to be able to get to them now. And you'll see as we do planning and shopping in future videos that this makes that part a whole lot easier if you just go ahead and bring them in here instead of saving them to Pinterest. All right, guys, thank you.